And conspiracy theory says he got these weapons from free from Amazon.
Now that is some tea. Amazon GS scamming players. Sussy.
Oof. Greetings, Internet. I hope you're doing well. Today we have some investigation work to do. So I decided to ask the infinite wisdom of Internet for help. Your help, guys. I'm gonna now present you with my 2 weeks of my observations and analysis, and you're gonna let me know in comment below what you think. The conspiracy theories and allegations are true or are just bollocks. Without further ado, let's go straight into it. For you. Now, for people that are not familiar with the game, let me explain the mechanics. If you want, in
I don't think he got that word right, but okay.
this game, get best in slot weapon. For your class, you have to defeat Archboss. It's huge ass monster that respawns once per week.
I get it now. This is the Hugh Hotbar. Got it.
At the moment we have 2 of them.
We've seen this guy before.
Queen Belandir, huge worm that spawns on the desert, and Tevent, like Undead
We love Bell and Dusty.
King. Big boss who spawn, you gabush the boss drops weapons, you get it. But also there is second
I'm thinking about buying a Bellendir SNS. Or no, Tevin SNS.
way exist. Every 4 or 5 hours, when there is time for events, special event happens. For Undead King, you can find his soul when he usually spawns, and it hovers around the location, and all the zombies in his presence are getting empowered. And once
Magnus Siege is a snooze fest. That's okay. We have
to
a couple.
kill them, you have a chance to drop a fragment. You need 180 of those fragments to craft any weapon of your choice. With Queen Belandir, this worm, she is appearing on the desert. She's also hovering around the desert, and she leaves her poop, or her saliva, or how you want to call it. She lay eggs. And when you open the egg, you have chance to get also a fragment. You also need 180 fragments to pick the weapon of your choice.
Right.
Of course, you can also unlock special road to obtaining this weapon. Just make small financial donation via cash shop to
small financial donation. He sounds just like the scammers on my phone, bro. Just a small financial donation.
Jeff Bezos, and for only $4,000 to $5,000, you can have one of those weapons.
Actually,
deal of your life.
I checked it yesterday. It's actually closer to like $1,500 now. Only $1,500, guys. Only $1,500.
I hope everyone understands the mechanics. Let's discuss the allegations. Amazon Game Studio breaking the game on purpose to artificially increase the value and price of those weapons so they can cash more smackaroos into.
So let me get this straight. My man, you start playing Throne and Liberty, a game which you know is severely pay to win. Okay. And you're almost, 2.5, almost 3 months in now. And you are upset that Amazon is greedy for the pay to win. And to be clear, this is NCSoft. This isn't Amazon making this rare or making the items rare. It's not Amazon that's designing the game this way. This is NCSoft, to be 100% clear. Okay. Guys, when you log in to Throne and Liberty, you log in to a pay-to-win MMO RPG, Korean RPG, okay? It's going to be grindy. You're going to be able to swipe and obtain all your gear, okay? BDO is exactly the same way. All right. Don't act like it's any different in Lost Ark, okay? Like, you just swipe your little tushy off, and you're worried about their predatory business practices. I would argue that a lot of people are actually excited because the weapon is so rare. Most people are not going to spend that kind of money on the weapon, and most players probably understand that. So in a strange way, it does discourage pay to win. They would make more money if they hit the sweet spot. See, because if you make the weapon, so there's like a line for pay to win, right? If you make the weapon like, you know, $25,000, no one's going to spend that money. Right? If you make it too cheap, well, you won't make enough money off of it. Right? You make it like $5, you won't make enough money off of it. Somewhere right around here, on the upper edge of people going, I might just spend $700 for a Tevin Greatsword. They'd make more money if they did this. Okay? Because a lot more players would feel like they could hit that financial threshold. Okay. Tevin being $25,000 means so few, and Queen Bellendere's being $25,000 means that so few people will attempt to buy it that it makes it exciting for a lot of players because it's a super rare item, and they can try to obtain it. Right? Like, you don't have $25,000 for a weapon that will be replaced in half a year? Don't tell them that.
To their pocket. Let's investigate. I hope.
Can I be honest with you, Bill? I was going to catch one of your streams today. I'm right here, buddy. Thank you so much.
To remember, we have two bosses. Let's start first with the Lich King. Loot from the boss was glitched for 2 weeks. You kill the boss,
2
you
weeks?
get the participation reward, the box, but no loot itself.
I was aware of this only happening for 1 week. Maybe in EU it was longer. I thought it was only 1 week in NA. We had like 1 or 2 bosses that were really bad. Yeah, and it was only the PvP version of the boss that was bugged too. Correct. It was only the PvP version of the boss. And now, I don't know, when did this come out? This is a day ago. My guy. Okay. Field and Arc bosses increase the drop rate of rare and epic loot from these encounters. So not only did they increase the loot, they also... Maybe it was during the spear? Oh, here we go. No, right here. Thank you for your patience while we work to resolve the recent issues related to Arc boss encounters. We understand the frustration this caused by many, and to ensure players are able to attempt these encounters again, we will be running a limited duration event from December 12th to January 9th. During this event, Arc bosses will spawn twice on their normally scheduled days, once in peace and once in conflict. The additional spawn will take place 6 p.m. 18 o'clock on server time. 8 p.m. 20 o'clock time will spawn as normal as well. Good luck, adventurers. So not only are they increasing the loot from the bosses, they're also giving us way more returns. So like we missed like, I don't know, a handful of Arc bosses, like loot, maybe at maximum. This is way more. All right, guys, this goes through January 9th. Like, they're giving us way more return on our investment, and they up the drop rate, right? Like, and I just want to be clear, like, oh, this video came out after. No, this video came out a day ago. So, that change was in the game.
It didn't work for 2 weeks. And they even release, like, before the boss, they release, like, the statement for entire server. Like, the message pop up. Let's read it. We are working to resolve an issue that's causing no loot to drop from arch bosses. These issues will remain during the upcoming event boss encounter. Participant will still receive participation rewards as expected.
Yeah.
Once resolved, we will reschedule previously impacted
And they
arch
did.
bosses encounters to give players a proper chance at acquiring the intended loot.
Yeah.
Okay. This is questionable. Bosses worked when they were introduced. They stopped working. Time for Exhibit 2, special event. As you remember, not only you can drop the entire weapon from the boss that sometimes work, you also can drop the fragments from hoovering event. 180 fragments, you can craft the weapon of your choice.
Yeah, if you guys didn't know, you can get the fragments from like guild events.
Now we have problem. According to Wizard
Do we know if the Flamos accessory can be exchanged for the new one? We don't know yet. Probably not.
Investigation, this event was
Who?
clearly rigged against the players. How they did it? Before, when the ghost was hovering around the area, all monsters in close proximity to the Tevent ghost got chance to drop fragments. That was indicated by this blue flame under the HP that shows, hey, the mob is ignite, there is a chance to drop the fragment. All monsters are in closer proximity. Now, after the patch,
I didn't know
only some monsters are ignited. So it greatly reduces your chance to get the fragment, because instead of like 50 monsters that are in close proximity to the boss, now only like 5 or 10.
That makes a lot more sense though, and that also doesn't mean that they didn't adjust the drop rate of the 5 or 10 that do have it to be higher. I think that their goal is to drop like maybe 1 fragment per guild event, maybe 3. Maybe 3. I see like 2 or 3 drop from Bellendir's event. So like my guess is they wanted to even it out for Tevent, and that's because it was probably just like way too high, and that makes the weapons way less common, or way more common, and that's what they don't want.
Can have chance to drop the fragment. Okay, Wizard. But how we can prove that this change actually...
It's a good observation though. I definitely give him credit. I never noticed this buff here. I didn't know what that... I don't know what that means.
Impacted the economy. What if there is less monsters but they have higher drop chance?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really matter. Ha! Glad you ask.
That
There
is exactly my point.
The website that is monitoring the market, and thanks to space magic, we can teleport there straight away. Poof! Here we are.
Okay, this guy's content is pretty good.
The orange graph on the top show the price of the item. The green one, those bars green on the bottom, show the supply of the item. So as you can see, the pumping fragment...
So supply and price, but the XY axes are lined up. They are lined up. Okay. Wait. So there's less in stock. The price is lower.
pumping fragments, and one day the fragment supply drops by like 50, 60, 70%.
Yeah, dude, that was the entire point. That's like the whole point. Like, they wanted it to be rarer. Like, it was clearly they probably assessed it to be a bug, and then they gave us an event that the boss spawns twice as frequently now. So like they know that if they don't do anything about the fragments during the guild event, this number is going to get off the charts. Then the weapon's going to be a lot less rare than they want it to be. So like
what it does, it's create situation like with...
He also didn't account for the player base drop too. One could say that it's a player base drop, but I don't feel that that is fair. If you've ever been to an arc boss, you know that generally only like 1 or 2 weapons drop a day, anyway, regardless of how many players are kind of at the boss. I've seen like 30 or 40,000 people show up for an arc boss and have like 2 weapons drop for everyone. Is kind of obnoxious. So even with a player-based drop-off, I still think that the total number is kind of the same. And also the guild events should be dropping. Even if like everyone on the server shows up to a guild event, it should still be there's only a certain amount of mobs that can drop a certain amount of fragments, right? So like assuming all of the mobs are killed every time, the amount of players is actually irrelevant at that guild event. And that's what we're talking about here. So like he's actually right. As long as all the mobs are being killed, there should be an equal chance of getting the fragment. Sure, it could be more loaded onto one player with less players on the total server, but you wouldn't see a drop off like this reflected in the scrap.
Toilet paper during COVID. There is not enough supply, so the price is automatically rising. This...
Is it though? Price history. This seems like a pretty big drop off to me. And then it's been basically the same. It's a little higher, like it's marginally a little bit higher, but like this is not like it's not crazy. In fact, I was just talking about how I'm just gonna let's see. Queen Bellandir's 108,000. Wait, yeah, see that's like $1,500, isn't it? Or wait, no, it's not. 108. Well, no, that's way more than 1,500. What am I doing? 108 divided by 6,000, loosen a piece. That's $18,000. 18 grand. I don't. And to be clear, that's still lower. That's still lower. $100 is 6K loosen. Oh, never mind. I'm a reach. God, I'm so stupid. Oh my God, dude, why did I multiply by 1,000? What am I doing, bro? Oh my God. Just move the decimal over, Blue. What are you doing? That's our teacher? Shut up! I was a biology teacher. I don't know how to math. Anyway, $1,800. $1,800. I'll be honest with you. $1,800 is a lot lower than it used to be. It used to be way higher than this. So the price has actually gone down. And I would argue that that's probably due to the event that they have on the server, right? Like...
Is first red flag. Why it's a red flag? Because it was ninja patch. It was not unannounced. It was not in patch notes. It just happened one day. Players were not informed. They just push it under the table.
Yep.
Oof. We are starting to having some track record. Investigation continues. Queen Bellandir, second archboss, huge worm that come out of the hole in the desert. The event that you can get fragments from her got disabled. Well, the event worked, but the worm didn't pop up for at least a week. Some people claim...
That's true. And I'm pretty sure that they were really upset that like there were players, and I'm so sorry I'm leaking this tech right now. Really sorry, guys. If you go to the Bellandir event at like 3 or 4 in the morning, there's no one there. You can get 2 or 3 shards all to yourself. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy.
2 weeks. Did it have impact on the market? You cannot clearly see it. You can see 2-week period where there is less fragments on the market for sure. When we were analyzing the event, the undead archboss shenanigans, you could clearly see when the nerf happened and how it happened. In this case, in case of Queen Bellandir, it's not so clear cut. So I leave it to your own judgment. But what you should know is the event was disabled 1 week before the Spear release. The new class. Throne and Liberty have new class release Spear. And coincidentally, the Spear can be crafted using Queen Belandir fragments.
Well, yeah, duh, they all
There
can.
is one information that we may have to take into consideration for our investigation. All items in this game that are reliably farmable, over time, they slowly lose their value.
Yeah, that's why they're reducing. All right, guys, they're reducing the number of fragments that you can obtain artificially so that the items retain their value for longer. This is a pretty simple concept. This is pretty simple, guys.
But the fragments, last 30 days, the value goes up.
Yeah.
Coincidence? And as every story involving money,
What?
this one also have Trust Me Bro part. And this time it involves our beacon of hope. Throne and Liberty Jesus himself.
All right. The world's greatest detective solving a we don't even know what the crime is. We don't even know what the crime is. We have Korean Jesus though. Let's see what Kanon has to say.
Kanon. So there is a website that you can go and content creators can share their builds there. And if you visit Kanon builds, you can see that he's heavily pushing those arch weapons. And conspiracy theory says he got these weapons from free from Amazon.
Now that is some tea. Now that is some tea. We are leveling an accusation that Kanon, the largest creator in Throne and Liberty in this space right now, got his Arc Boss weapons for free from Amazon and is now pushing those builds on other players so that not only do they think that they're best in slot, it's because he wants them to buy them with money so that Amazon makes money. That is a wild accusation. Let's hear the evidence.
And he's doing it to increase the sales. As he's getting the cut. If you ask me, it's rather unlikely. Because we content creators know that Throne and Liberty is Titanic that heads for iceberg and it's gonna crash. Time to get as much viewers, as much subscription, as much exposure as possible, and then off to lifeboat, okay?
This video is a ride. This video is a ride. First, we're gonna explain the accusation for Kanon, and then he's like, "It's unlikely." No, it just doesn't. It's just not happening. Okay, there's no way that Kanon is do you know why Kanon puts Arc Boss weapons in his end game build recommendations? This is a secret, so don't tell anybody. I spoke with Kanon yesterday. He told me. It's because they're the best weapons in the game, and that's what you should be going for. I know. It's some Illuminati shit. It's crazy. Okay. Now, that being said, he was like, it's unlikely. No weighing. I know. It's unlikely. No, it's just not happening. That is not happening. I don't even know why he would put this in the video. He's wild. It's literally insane. Like, the thought that Amazon is using the content creators to push pay to win on the community is insane. It's literally insane. That being said, then as a content creator that makes Throne and Liberty content, you literally just said, it's the Titanic. It's not going to make it long term. Jump ship is essentially what he just said, which I will be honest, does not bestow a tremendous amount of confidence in your community. I'd say it's doing really well. We're 2.5 months in. And I think that the game overall is doing really well. Very consistently holding numbers. Yes. Is it still going down? Sure. This is to be expected. We're waiting to see where it's going to kind of level off at, but this is an extremely healthy amount of players. Extremely healthy amount of players to be playing your game. He said, my opinion. Better than BDO. Well, in fairness, I think that someone could correct me if I'm wrong, but all of Throne and Liberty's players are on Steam, and only half of BDO's players are on Steam, give or take. Right? So, like, you have to double BDO's numbers, and there's still not even half this. So there's that. But BDO's also been out 10 years, so I don't really think it's a fair comparison. Once Throne and Liberty's been out for a full year, we'll have a better understanding of where their numbers lie. But I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't say that it hit an iceberg. I was skeptical of the longevity of Throne and Liberty. I was. I think we all were. We're like, yeah, it's really fun right now, but is it going to be fun 3 months from now? Does it have the longevity? And I'll be honest, I think the devs listening to feedback from the players and then constantly releasing new content and then just pumping out stuff that the community really wants to see, along with the really good community events, has kept people engaged, and I think has bought a lot of good faith for a lot of players. And I think that they've done a great job so far. A much better job than I expected them to do with the game. He said they're heading towards it, not hit. Dude, when you compare a game to the Titanic, okay, you know what's about to happen. All right. Like BDO. I wouldn't even describe BDO as the Titanic. Like it's going down, but it's still floating, you know?
Having sex with Capitan under the deck, this is no...
Okay, let's get some content. Or let's get some context for that.
Is Titanic that heads for iceberg and it's gonna crash. Time to get as much viewers, as much subscription, as much exposure as possible, and then off to lifeboat, okay? Having sex with Capitan under the deck.
Oh my god, is he talking about Alec? Wait, the analogy is working. Oh, shit.
This is no time for that. This is the time for evacuation now. And second thought I have in my mind is having arch weapons is good advertisement for your stream. Alright? Kanon is like non-aggressive with it, but if I had those weapons, you will see titles like I have $10,000 weapon combo and I'm one-shotting peasants. And that's how...
There's definitely a little salt there. I'm going to be honest. That seems like it's a little salty. If I had this weapon, I would have more viewers and I would be able to put this crazy shit in my title. No, he's right. He is right. But also... if you're a broke boy, just say so. You can't get mad at somebody in a pay-to-win game for paying to win. You signed up for this. You signed the devil's contract. Okay? Like, it'd be like getting mad at a player in BDO for spending $6,000 and having deck Sovereign on day one. What are we talking about? Like, it's even more expensive than BDO is for Arc Boss weapons. That shit's crazy. That shit's insane. Okay. If you don't have the money for Arc Boss weapons, then you just have to make other content. Like, I don't have the money for Arc Boss weapons. I'm doing all right. Like,
ladies and gentlemen, we had reached the end of this video.
I would also say that it takes away from... Again, he's not necessarily directly attacking Kanon here, but like he would not have included Kanon in the video if he was not frustrated with Kanon in some way. In this case, like he's talking about Amazon scamming players, and you're bringing up a content creator potentially helping them. Like what are we talking about? Can't really do that and expect to really get away with it. I think that Kanon deserves a lot more credit than he's given him here. The reason Kanon is successful in Throne and Liberty is because he invested 2 years well, 1.5 years. So he started playing on the Korean release when everyone thought the game was shit. And like, he invested a full year in Korea. He played the whole open beta. He knew everything going into it. He was ready to go. He'd been covering it already for like 1.5 years before the game came out. Of course, he was going to be the largest streamer here. If he doesn't have an arc boss weapon, no one would care. He would still have a tremendous amount of viewers because he had huge investment going into it. Like, let's be real. It's really smart on his part. It's a gamble, right? Because if Throne and Liberty had tanked really hard, Kanon would be up shit creek, right? He invested most of his career into, like most of his recent career, into making sure that his Throne and Liberty content was a success. And like, he's done a great job and he's profited a lot off of it, but he's also invested a lot into it, if you catch my drift. So like, I don't know, if anything, he's kind of breaking even on this. If from a creator perspective, I look at this, I know I can kind of approximate how much money Kanon is making overall on Twitch and YouTube, because like, you know, I'm on both those platforms. If he did pay to win those weapons, and then he paid to win a bunch at the start too, he made a small amount of money. But not that much. Not that much.
Now,
it did help his career a tremendous amount though. And that's what content creation is all about, is investing into your career. You're going to take minus hits on money all the time, right? You're just going to take those hits, but like, it's in the name of visibility, and he's gotten a lot of visibility.
it's your time to do something. Let me know in the comment below. Do you think this is cold blood calculation to milk the players from last dime? Or they are just clumsy in the company that don't know what the f they do? Thank you very much for watching.
I don't think it's either. I think it actually demonstrates this is like an exception that kind of proves the rule. I think that they are not scamming players. I think that all players know and are very aware that the game is pay to win going into it. All players are also extremely aware that arc boss weapons are super rare. They're rare weapons, guys. You know it. I know it. All of us know it. Okay. Amazon, well, and CSoft particularly, wants these weapons to be extremely hard to get because it increases their value long term. Because if everybody has them, no one does, if you catch my drift. So like, they lose their value, right? So like, if people are artificially getting more shards than they should be, then they're going to adjust that. They should have announced it, probably. You could make that case that they should have announced that change. But also, the argument that they're potentially scamming people over this, and like, oh, they're a clumsy company that is trying to scam players, or like one or the other. They could be clumsy, but like also, yeah, sure, the arc boss weapons were bugged for a week, but then we got like a 2 or 3 week double spawn event where we're getting two times as many bosses. So like, I'm gonna tell you right now, that's way more fragments than you would have gotten normally. Like, that's gonna be way more weapon drops than you would have gotten normally anyway. So like, this is kind of ruled out. Is Amazon a greedy company? Of course they are. They're a $1 trillion company. Like, when you look at the company as a whole, what are we talking about? It's all about making money. But when you talk about their publishing of this game, right, and their CMGM team, I don't really get the idea that they're deliberately just trying to mislead players in any way. If anything, this is the most direct and forward CMGM team and developers that I've ever seen in any game. Like, these people listen to the community feedback and then give us videos basically weekly about what they're going to do to change the game, which I really like. And I think that if they were trying to scam us or shove something under the rug or shove something aside, I think that it would have been more obvious by now. I do. So no, I don't think it's a deliberate scam. And I think that bugs happen in games, right? You can't always get everything right every time. And I'm willing to understand that, because they gave, and it's clearly like, okay, they made a mistake, they fixed it, and they gave us compensation. I don't know how this is any different from Blizzard or Pearl Abyss or any other company that would publish an MMO. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that's my take on it. I really do not think that it's a scam.
I hope you enjoy my video, and I hope we're gonna...
That being said, this video was a ride. This video was a ride. I don't know whether or not to give it a thumbs up. I'm not sure whether or not to give it a thumbs up. We've watched Divium before. As someone who transferred, okay, here we go. Let's look at the comments. As someone who transferred on low pop server with the release of these bosses to specially farm these shards, I can share my info. Before Queen, I would say lays 5 to 6 eggs with 4 to 6 shards, possibly farmed per event. What I say, 3 per event? Yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of underselling it a little bit. 4 to 6 I think is high, but you know, whatever. I was farming around 25 shards a week to sell on the auction house. Since the changes, I looted only 2 shards in the past month. The Tevent is, as it said in the video, loot chances are the same, but the number of enchanted monsters were reduced by 500%. Well, here's the thing. If you're getting 25 shards a week and you only need 180 shards, 7 weeks, and everyone on the server would have it, right? Or like, you could pity it out in 7 weeks. That's not what the developers want you to do. Clearly, the shards are dropping way faster than they want them to during these events, so they lowered them. Like, 7 weeks is nothing. We're talking about a month and a half, and then boom, their content is just dead. I've been steering clear of AGS since Lost Ark, and it seems as more time passes, the more I am reminded of what it was such a good idea. Remember at the similar time, that, again, I don't really know what point was made in the video, aside from Kanon catching some strays, bro. Remember at a similar time, they also made it so you don't see other player drops. Nobody could clearly tell if the Arc boss dropped something or not. Huh? I mean, I could always see everybody's drops. If a staff popped out of there, you were swarming like vultures. That's how you knew, bro. That's how you knew. I stopped playing TNO when PoE 2 came out, but I will still continue watching The Wizard. It's based to play PoE 2. I'm playing a lot of PoE 2 as well, but like, you know, still keeping up on TNO. I don't know. I'm curious if the Throne and Liberty community is playing a lot of Path of Exile. I think there's a much lower ratio of players from Throne and Liberty that are playing PoE than BDO. BDO is definitely a little bit more adjacent to PoE than TNL is. TNL is a little bit more PvP focused. We got the message and then dropped the weapons. Also, TNL is more group focused too. They reduced it because of bots. Yeah, and this is a great point that somebody brought up in chat earlier. W chatter. They see spawn before normal player cam. It's impossible to get anything if they're there. Yeah, so bots were definitely farming fragments, and that's definitely a good point. But like, I think that they handled most of the botting issue. So like, there's half of this. It's like, okay, yeah, he's right. Bots could farm the fragments, but then Amazon is just banning most of the bots. I don't see bots very often anymore. I've seen like 3 bots in the last week. And so it's not super common for me to see them at the Bellendir event. Plus, if the bots are farming it, there's a very good chance that they're getting banned before they're able to use the fragments. So, TL dungeon mobs should drop items to craft skills. Well, the abyssal currency drops. I do think that they should make skill books easier to obtain. That's obvious. If you play the game at all, you know that skill points are your biggest throttle on everything, aside from maybe arc boss weapons. Leveling up your skills and your mastery on your weapons as well is ridiculous. It's way harder than your gear is, basically across the board. They do need to make that easier. Battle Pass gives a ton this time around. It's still not enough. Like, people are trying to re-roll and do other weapons, right? Like, I'm doing a full re-roll. Like, not sure yet if playing in a dead region, like full release Asia or an unpopular server, if you can be dominant on the server, you can conquer the arc boss in conflict really easily. The problem with Kanon is he's playing at crucial and popular server, which with a lot of competition to get arc bosses to gear is really hard. But I don't know then. Glad you still create the content, Mr. Wizard. And see, this is why I think putting in the Kanon in the video was definitely it was a shot. So again, we have people implying that Kanon might be doing something unsavory to get his arc boss weapons. Here's the deal. Kanon's guild and alliance were really strong on their server for a long time, and they probably got arc boss weapon drops on their server who in the do you think got the Arc Boss weapons when the guild got them to draw? Like, let's just be honest. Okay. Like, it's not even a question. It's not even a question. My guild stole my Tevent wand. The game is leeching of scammers. My guy, you need to trust better people. Guys, you need to be in a guild of people that you trust wholeheartedly, not to you bloody. Okay? Like, this is horrible that this happens. It happens all the time, but like, man. I've been playing since launch, and I run all World Boss and Arc Boss events. I've got maxed out gear and runes. I have not even touched runes yet. I'm 3,908 CP. Not once since playing this game have I gotten a World or Arc Boss drop of any kind. Well, that's most people, dude. Oh my god, I've been playing since launch. I'm 3,900 gear score. Congratulations, dude. There's people that are 4,100 that are in the same boat. Stop. You're embarrassing yourself. I've also not gotten one selection chest at any World Boss or Arc Boss. Well, neither have I. Have any of you guys? Bro, those are rare as I take steps to make sure I can do the max amount of damage, still no drops. Well, bro, like this. Like, dude, like most people, he's just most people. Like, you're just like a normal player at this point. If you've gotten one of those 2 drops, it's because you're carried, bro. I got a fragment. I don't know from where. There it is. But you didn't get a selection box, right?